All right, I do one of these videos every once in a while. New fragrances you must get your nose on, and I'm talking about 19 fragrances today. Fragrances that I'm really enjoying, whether they're new, newly launched, or some older fragrances that I just discovered. You're going to want to find out what these fragrances are. As I said, I have 19. I'm going to talk to you about them now, and I'm also going to get back into the swing of things of shooting more new content. Yes, I've been focused on ScentFest SF for almost the entire year. We launched publicly in March, but I was doing some behind the scenes at the beginning of the year from last year as well. But the ScentFest SF event is coming around the corner, and now it's looking like we will have 3,000 approximate attendees, which I'm excited about because I set out to do 2,000, and it looks like it's on its way to be a 3,000 visited attendee visitors. So I'm very, very excited where it's going. And again, as I said, I'll be getting back to normal with the shooting and more deep dives to come around the corner as well. So if you haven't got your tickets to ScentFest, please do. Stay tuned for a overview of the entire show once everything is done and settled with, because we have last minute exhibitors still doing artwork and graphics and things like that. So once I can announce the entire list lineup of brands and participants, I'll do a whole video to talk to you guys about it to get you even further excited. But in the meantime, please get your tickets. There's a chance that Saturday will be sold out very soon. So I want you guys to be able to not miss out, because Saturday is going to be our most important day. Kayali and Amouage will be there, and the main people behind those brands will be there as well, and they're doing talks and various things. So if you're into the idea of meeting Renaud from Amouage, Mona from Kayali, you're going to really want to be there. And as I said, Saturday is a potential of selling out, so don't miss out on getting your tickets. In fact, get yourself a 3-day pass or even the VIP ticket, because VIP ticket allows you to come in 2 hours before, along with media trade and creators, and be there not so trafficked when it's like wall-to-wall people. Anyway, let's get started with the list. We're talking about Loumari first, Radanfor. So I did a review of this one. I've been a fan of the brand. I liked the previous two fragrances before Radanfor. They weren't the kind of fragrances that I went crazy for, but I enjoyed them. But now we're back with an awesome scent from the brand. And this brand's going to be at our show as well, guys. Loumari is going to be at our show. You'll be able to discover Radanfor and, of course, Porthole as well. And also, Julien Rascanet, who created this, will be attending our show. He's coming with Nishane, because he just did a new fragrance with Nishane, a rose-themed fragrance. So he'll be there. But he created Radanfor. Radanfor is vanilla. There's orris, there's frankincense, myrrh, orange blossom, cardamom. It's so delicious. To me, it's almost like taking the idea of Baby Cat or Vanagloria, removing the leather and adding resins and spices, adding iris or orris, and then also adding orange blossom. And to me, it reminds me of somewhat of a La Male, Fleur de Mal kind of a DNA, but more resinous, ambery, vanillic, and powdery. Oh, it's so good. Super delicious. You get a little bit of that churchy frankincense. You're picking up the orange blossom and the cardamom, which is brightening things up. The powder is giving it that kind of airy quality. But this scent is awesome. If you're doubting it, please get your hands on it, smell it. It smells fantastic. Or you can come to our show and experience it in person, because to me, it's my number 2 favorite behind Porthole. But to me, Radanfor is kind of creeping up to take over the number 1 spot, because for me, Porthole between Radanfor, is more my style in comparison to Porthole, because I'm not the biggest fan of fruity fragrances, but I like both. But I think Radanfor is like taking over the number 1 spot for Loumari. So that's Loumari's Radanfor. Super awesome scent. Check it out. Let's move on to the next fragrance. This is Carmen from Trudon. So Trudon released 3 extracts last year. Out of the 3, my favorite was 45 degrees. I didn't care for the other ones much. I really loved the 45 degrees. I felt like it didn't connect with the actual brand because the brand is a candle maker. Most of you that enjoy candles probably have heard of Trudon candles, but they launched fragrances almost 10 years ago. And last year, my favorite fragrance of the year was 45 degrees. I really loved 45 degrees. I didn't care for the other 2. But now they've got Carmen, and Carmen is also really, really awesome, although I still prefer 45 degrees more. But this is also really, really great. And to me, Carmen seems like it's more in line with what the smells of Trudon's candles are like. I've been wearing this quite a bit. It is a bit old school. It is mossy. It highlights cloves, which I think, to me, cloves are a bit vintage. What do you guys think? Cloves, there's patchouli here, tobacco, there's leather, there's ambery notes like labdanum. Oh my God, it's great. But there's a soapy quality about it. It reminds me of hand soap that's super luxurious, very expensive, but also kind of old school smells in there. I think the moss is giving me old school vibes, the cloves. Nothing like 45 degrees. Again, as I said, 45 degrees smells amazing. It was my favorite release last year. To me, it didn't smell like anything Trudon would launch. But Carmen, on the other hand, smells like definitely connected to the brand. And it's a great scent. Check it out. This is also, to me, more masculine leaning compared to 45 degrees. But I like both. I prefer 45 degrees just a little bit more. Here, though, it's a great, great smell. Classic, super awesome, really long-lasting, amazing scent from Trudon. Check it out. It's Trudon's Carmen. Let me know if you've smelled any of these fragrances so far. Here's a brand that I've never spoken about before. Really great scent that I really enjoy. It's called Scent of Africa. I'm sorry, it's from Scent of Africa, but it's called Fik. Fik. I think that's how you say it. This, to me, smells super creamy on skin, but it's very aromatic and a bit green leaning. I don't know what's giving the creamy effect on skin, but I like the greenness. This one also has myrtle. It has geranium, so myrtle, geranium, rosemary. There's a bit of ginger. There's bergamot. To me, the myrtle is a kind of an aromatic floral note. Not your traditional white flowers. It also produces these very bitter, sweet kind of berries that are kind of delicious and addicting. But it features that note in here. But there's a lot of green aromatic notes like geranium and rosemary. So it's very green and earthy, aromatic and spicy. But behind the scenes, there's something kind of addicting and cozy and creamy as well. Really digging this one. It's a brand that I want to discover further. Are you guys familiar with Scent of Africa? Fik. Cool looking bottle as well. What do you guys think? Check that out if you haven't. Now moving on from Africa, although I don't know if that brand's from Africa. It's called Scent of Africa. But we're going to the country of China with Zhufu. This is Zhufu's cocoa truffle. If you're a chocolate lover, you must get your nose on this one. By the way, Zhufu will be at our show. They are going to be in an area called Discovery Zone. And so they'll have a small counter and they'll highlight some of their fragrances. Hopefully he'll bring that fragrance. I met the founder of the brand last year in it was in Grasse in the south of France during Grasse Perfume Week. And so I instantly fell in love with their bottles because they're shaped like bamboo and they're cute. This is a 15 ml bottle, by the way, but really felt like the presentation and the whole entire brand was put together very nicely. And also the fragrances are kind of compact and easy to carry with you, but still kind of very decorative as well because you've got these cute little bottles that are like bamboo, as you can see. But this is dark chocolate or dark cocoa. There's praline in it. There's creamy notes, smooth and caramelly. It's like the ultimate in chocolatey gourmand. Super, super yummy. It smells delicious. Really, really delicious. And I think this is a winner. If you are a fan of gourmands, you must check this out. Come and meet the guy. He's a very nice guy. Like I said, I've met him now. Grasse, Shanghai, Paris, and then now San Francisco. The brand will be there, and hopefully he'll bring Cocoa Toffee from the house of Zhufu. I want you guys to try that brand. It's a great house. I really love that fragrance. In fact, the brand has a lot of great scents, so all worth trying. Now we're moving on to the brand Anomalia. This is Karmacoma. Who's familiar with this beautiful bottle, don't you think? The design of the bottle is gorgeous. Karmacoma, to me, it's vanilla with leathery notes. There's saffron. There's powdery notes. It's super powdery. This will remind you of Baby Cat, but I feel like the vanilla is a different kind of vanilla, whereas Baby Cat is super dry. This one has some creamy texture to it, still on the dry side, and the vanillas don't smell identical. Same thing with the leather. The leather is also smoother, a bit more suede leather-like, but seems like the powdery effect on Karmacoma has been amplified and intensified. But, you know, I love this DNA. Absolutely love this. It smells fantastic. I could wear this night and day. It's vanilla. That's not like super gourmand, but you experience the vanilla. You smell it. But it's nicely meshed with leathery, spicy saffron and powdery notes. Super awesome. This is Karmacoma. It's also saying that it's a concentrate. So that's Anomalia Paris. And it's Karmacoma. So check that out if you don't know it. So next up, we've got a fragrance from the House of Cosmo. This is Element. Is it Element A? What is that symbol? So this is a Parfum concentration, and it's a patchouli fragrance. And if you love patchouli, you got to try this. It's very addicting. It's a kind of patchouli that somewhat leans a bit green, but it's not necessarily like super chocolatey. But there's also very creamy effect. It's potent. It's quite potent. It's a Parfum concentration. But you really, I mean, there's a note of coconut in here. You really experience the coconut. It comes through because the fragrance is super smooth and creamy. But you've got the patchouli, loads of it. There's tobacco here. You also have lavender. There's vanilla and a little bit of cacao. But to me, it doesn't come off super chocolatey. It's to me, it's kind of like a green patchouli. And I like it. It's a breath of fresh air compared to all of those very chocolate cakey patchoulis. But on my skin, it's super sexy. Really. I find patchouli to be one of the sexiest notes. And on my skin, it smells really, really awesome. It projects a long time. It has great longevity. It's kind of overwhelming. It's super strong. But I like the way the fragrance smells on my skin. And I like the longevity of it as well. Again, a patchouli lover. I'm a patchouli lover. I've never seen coconut with patchouli. So this is the first time. I guess it maybe tones down the earthiness of the patchouli, makes it a bit creamy, whatever that does. But I love this. This is so good. I just love the way it smells. And I love the fact that it projects off of me super awesome. So that's House of Cosmo Element. Now, this next one is one that I spoke about recently. This is from Dissident. This is Umbra Veris. Dissident's Umbra Veris was a love at first sniff. The way the fragrance is created, to me, it's almost like a modern take on Magie Noire from Lancôme. The new version is nothing like the 70s version. It's also a little bit like Jean-Louis Scherer. But this, to me, it's almost like taking Magie Noire or Jean-Louis Scherer and giving it a bit more of a edge of something like Synthetic Jungle. If you know Synthetic Jungle or Synthetic Nature now. So the idea of Magie Noire, Jean-Louis Scherer from the 70s. Both of them came out in the 70s. Super green fragrances with galbanum. This has galbanum, but modernizing it, keeping the old school qualities, but, you know, giving it a little bit of a modern twist. I absolutely love it. I'm a big fan of galbanum. Galbanum is an awesome green note. Really green and kind of vegetal, sticky resinous. But what I like about this one, there's a fuzzy, musky undertone. I wonder if he's using oak moss or mossy notes here, the perfumer. It's a perfumer brand owner, but man, it's good. It's so, so awesome. Check it out. Umbra Veris from the house of Dissident. The brand used to be called Sacre Francais. That's what it used to be called. Next, moving on to the house of Clean Reserve. This is Skin Intense. So I bought the original a year ago from Sephora down the street here and really loved it. Did a shorts video on it. And I was always curious what the Intense was because you guys were asking me, have you tried the Intense version that just came out? I didn't even know it would come out, but finally I got a bottle and it's taking the original, intensifying it, but also adding a vanillic twist, a vanillic edge. I think the original does contain a little vanilla, but to me, even though this is similar to the idea of the previous one, but it's a lot more concentrated, so you really experience the thickness compared to the previous edition, which was more airy, thin, a lot more of a skin scent. This, to me, is still a skin scent, but it's super strong, so it might come off not super skin scenty, if that makes sense. But you've got lots of musks here. It's a bit salty. There's tonka, there's vanilla, there's sandalwood, so it's super creamy, super smooth, almost like the House of Cosmo's fragrance that featured the coconut. This has that kind of a smooth, creamy, coconutty edge. But, I mean, I'm not saying they smell alike. The texture is kind of similar. Because I think the sandalwood that's in here is creating that kind of a smooth and creamy texture, and that's why I get a little bit of the idea of coconut. But it's a really awesome take on the original, much more concentrated, long-lasting, not so much of a skin scent, but very enjoyable to wear. So that's Clean Reserve, Skin Intense from the house of Clean Reserve. Now we're moving on to the house of Caron. This is Atmah. I recently spoke about this one. I was in Paris and went to the Printemps beauty store on floor 1. Caron has a little store within the store, and I asked the lady what's the latest fragrance, because I guess I had missed this. It launched, I think, in November of last year, and I was in Paris in October of last year, and I bought it right on the spot. I really, really enjoyed it. So it's a kind of a peppery, creamy, white floral vanilla. The peppery notes really stand out here. You really pick it up, but it's a nice contrast to the creaminess of the white floral notes in this, and also the vanilla. So there's a lot of musky notes as well. There's vetiver, but tuberose, jasmine musk, lots of vanilla. It's super sexy. It's not as loud as I wanted it to be, but the smell is really, really great. It's created by Louise Turner, who is now the perfumer, in-house perfumer at Caron. She's a Givaudan perfumer. But if you like white flowers mixed with vanilla, definitely get it. The last white floral vanilla combo I was wearing, I still enjoy, is Vanita Tahiti? I'm forgetting the name. I think it's Vanita Tahiti from Paris Monte Carlo in the Extrait de Parfum concentration. I really love it. They're nothing alike. That one's a super beast mode. This one is smoother, a bit more quiet, a bit more personal, but still great smell and very, very addicting vanilla with white flowers and peppery notes. Check that out. Atmah from the house of Caron. You won't be disappointed if you love my taste. I wish it was a bit stronger. That's what I wish. And somehow I'm wishing that Caron will launch an extrait de parfum of this and Tabac Exquis. Even Tabac Noir, I feel like it could use some oomph. They don't have any extracts. Maybe they will launch some extracts. Who knows? But most importantly, Tabac Exquis could use an extract, and definitely this one as well. So that's Atmah from the house of Caron. Let's move on to the house of Epichron. It's Poudre. Oh man. Epichron is the same person or same team as One Day. Do you guys remember One Day's, let's see, One Day did a fragrance called Oolong Tea, And we also featured Taipei in a kit. So it's a sister house. I think that's what it is. Michael Wong is the perfumer. But what do I like about Poudre? It's super powdery orris, carroty orris. Also, although I don't think they list violet as a note, it comes off very violet forward to me. But I don't know. Big lover of orris, iris. Really, really enjoy this note. It has become a really, really favorite note of mine. I'll have to do another ranking because it's creeping up there, and I'm really, really enjoying. The more I, experience orris and iris in fragrances, the more I get addicted to it. It's coming up there. There's a lot out there, and this is super awesome. I think it's the carrot that might maybe kind of act a bit like violet. Also, it acts a bit like makeup powder. That's why it's called poudre. It's very, very powdery. It also has the heliotrope note, which is also intensifying the powdery experience. So if you love powdery fragrances, definitely check this out because it's really one of the best recent powdery iris-focused fragrances. So that is Epichron Poudre from the house of Epichron. Let me know if you're a fan of that one. All right, next we're talking about a fragrance from the house of the Different Company. It's Love is Coming Chapter 2. Who's familiar with Love is Coming Chapter 2? Or actually, I should say, who's familiar with The Different Company? The Different Company, I think, has relaunched or rebranded. Maybe relaunched, I think. One of the fragrances that I really loved from this brand is called Celle de Vetiver. I believe it got relaunched. I think it's reformulated. I'm not 100% sure. Celle de Vetiver is a really great earthy vetiver with a salty note. It was a very popular fragrance, one of my favorites. I think my bottle is kind of no longer. I have to look around and find it. But this Love is Coming Chapter 2 is tomatoes. If you like tomatoes, this is it. This is such a pulpy, succulent tomato. You've got tomatoes in this, black currant, you've got bell pepper, there's rose and geranium. Kind of acts a bit like salad. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Synthetic Jungle. It reminds me a little bit of L'Ombre dans l'eau from the House of Diptyque. But the fact that it has tomato, it could be tomato leaves, but I'm picking up the fruit. There's definitely that plump, succulent quality of tomatoes. I eat them all the time. I absolutely love them. And this is reminding me of literal, like the pulp of the tomatoes. It's super fresh, very green, peppery, spicy, a little fruity and rosy because the black currant does add a slight fruitiness. But I think it's all a given to create this kind of a real tomato effect. So just juicy. Yeah, pulpy and juicy, like the succulent quality of the tomatoes. That's what you get with this one. And the color kind of gives you an idea of what you're getting. The Kumano, is it Kumato? I think it's Kumato tomatoes. They come in like a little plastic thing, either long or kind of a little bit more rectangular. If you ever get those, they're really delicious tomatoes. That's the color for me. So that is The Different Company. Love is Coming Chapter 2. Next, we're going to the house of LT Piver. This is A la Reine Fleurs. I don't know if you guys are familiar. They just relaunched their fragrances. I was reading some comments and I heard, are these just repackaged fragrances? Did they just take the old fragrances and repackage them? No, the fragrances have been all reformulated, and the original fragrances that have been on the market for years and decades are eau de cologne. We now have eau de parfum concentration. That's what these are. So this is the 2026 edition of A la Reine Fleur, one of the classics. I actually did a video with one of the associates from the brand on the relaunch of these fragrances, so go catch that video. I should also say the brand will be at ScentFest. They're debuting their fragrances in the USA. In fact, they just started selling at Lucky Scent, if you weren't aware. But this is a really awesome take on kind of musky florals, citrus florals, green florals, aromatics, spices. So it's a perfect summer scent, and it's basically taking the original. It is reformulated. It doesn't smell identical to the original, but the similar idea. So whereas the previous editions are very, very light eau de colognes, now we've got stronger. In fact, to me, these fragrances do come off a bit stronger than your traditional eau de parfum. So they're kind of like acting a little bit more like extrait. But it smells great. It smells really, really fresh, citrusy, green and aromatic, like a traditional eau de cologne that is laced with a lot of aromatic notes. It's a fantastic fragrance. Really love it. And great presentation and packaging as well. As you can see, a la Reine Fleur from the house of LT Piver. I would love these bottles as well. As you can see, I've worn quite a bit of this one. I love the smell, and it smells great in the warmth as well. Now let's move on to the fragrance called Ambre from the house of Kintsugi Perfumes. There you go. This was a love at first sniff. It's an amber, but to me, I looked up notes. There's no mention of patchouli, but I feel like there's patchouli in the notes. It comes off very like an amber meshed with a lot of patchouli. It smells really, really fantastic. It's very resinous. It's got a lot of fruity notes, boozy notes, and I feel like behind the scenes there's a little bit of patchouli there that gives it that kind of depth, the earthy depth. And of course you've got a little fruitiness. It's such a great scent, by the way. If you like the idea of amber with rum and boozy notes, you have to try this. And I think what's creating that kind of patchouli effect, I think it's the cacao note. There's cacao mentioned in the notes. And cacao and chocolate, remember we get chocolate from, we get chocolatey from psychedelic, which is a lot of patchouli and resinous ambery vanillic notes. So I feel like that's what's giving me a little bit of an effect of patchouli in this. But it's fantastic. It's an X-rated parfum. I love the idea of the boozy notes, the plums, fruitiness, the amber and the resins, and that idea of patchouli. So that's Kintsugi Perfumes Ambre. So next, we're going to the House of Dastan. This is Love Flame. And this is also a brand that's presenting at our show. And I've fallen in love with this one because it does remind me of Dior Homme Parfum, Dior Homme Intense. Once again, we've got Iris. I wore a sample of this and drenched myself with it, felt instantly in love with it. And I had to have this. This is a little bit leathery with the notes, but there's a lot of iris here. There's patchouli, a little bit chocolatey touches, vanilla, carrot. But behind the scenes, I feel like there's a little bit of leather, but it's super powdery. You'll definitely be reminded of either Dior Homme Parfum or maybe Dior Homme Intense. But I think it's because I'm getting the leather. I feel like Dior Homme Parfum 2014 or 2020 had more of a leathery effect compared to the current 2025 edition, which smells nothing like the original. And that's what I like about this one, because it reminds me of the original. It's super, super delicious. Really, really fantastic fragrance. I absolutely love Iris now. I'm a big Iris lover, if I haven't mentioned that already. And this is definitely going to satisfy my craving for Dior Homme Parfum, which is sadly completely different now. Let me know if you guys are familiar with House of Dastan's La Flame. Do you get the idea that I do? Similarity to Dior Homme Intense or Dior Homme Parfum? Add a comment below. And again, they're going to be at ScentFest SF, so if you want to meet them, come by, get your tickets. And then we're moving on to the House of Voyager with the Star Trails. So if you're looking for a Coca-Cola perfume, you've got it right here with this fragrance. Now, it does have a lot of violet. So violet is very, very prominent. So it's almost like a Coca-Cola fizzy drink, sweet, but also with violet behind the scenes. Like you get to the Coke and then you're also getting violet with it, if that makes sense. Like violet Coke maybe. But it's Coca-Cola. There's lime here. There's violets, warm ambery notes. There's anise. I think there's cinnamon. But the whole composition or the combination is creating that kind of very fun and playful Coca-Cola fragrance. I think that Comme des Garçons had a fragrance called Cola or Soda. I can't remember. I think it was called Soda maybe. Do they still make that? They had it in a collection and then they discontinued it and brought it back in the olfactory library. And then I can't remember if it's gone. But this one kind of replaces that. It totally takes me to a fun and playful side of, playing around with Coke as a kid. I don't drink much Coke anymore. Once in a while, I get a craving for it. I'll have it. Especially when I'm traveling in Europe, I drink Coke, more cola there than here. It's weird because you go drinking and you get tired of drinking. You want something different and you drink Coke. But this is going to satisfy my craving for Coca-Cola. It's super delicious. So that is Star Trails from the House of Voyager. And if you guys want to meet the perfumer behind this brand, you can. He is also the owner of Siam 1928, and he's presenting this brand together with his other brand. But check this brand out as well. I think Siam 1928 might be a bit more indie niche. This is a bit more mass appealing, I think, but still kind of very niche and fun fragrances. Star Trails is great. Check it out. All right, the next brand is not going to be at our show, but I wanted to highlight it because I've been really, really digging this one. This is Karat EG from Maison Detto. So I've been going through the fragrances of this house, and I've really fell in love with this one. This is a rose fragrance. I know rose is having a moment, so is lavender, but this just came out several years ago. Oh my God, it smells so good on me. So, so yummy. It's also much bigger than some of the other ones. Although I think everything has been decent from this, but this rose, oh man, it is so addicting. It's rose with patchouli. There's earthy touches in here. There's powdery carrot, amber. The roses on the green side. Oh man, it smells great. It has such great intensity. Although I wouldn't say it's beast mode, but good lingering power is what I should say. It doesn't fizzle away right away. Plus, I really love how it has this really great diffusive quality, and it just kind of totally takes over your body. And then as you're moving around, you can pick up this really awesome kind of green and stemmy rose against really awesome earthy notes. There is one thing that might not turn people on about this. It does have under it, has a little bit of something like, I think it has a little bit of like ambroxan-like qualities in here. So like molecular notes, musky, but it's covered up quite a bit with the rose and earthy notes, but I'm picking it up. So you might pick it up as well. If you don't like ambroxan and things like that, that might come off a bit too much for you. But this stuff is so, so awesome. Super, super sexy. Really, really awesome, sexy. I would say this is something like a Chypre, but I love the fact that it has those earthy notes. It's got that powder, there's amber, and there's got to be something like ambroxan in there. All acting wonderfully together. So that's Maison Detto's Karat EG. I don't know what the name means. Unfortunately, I can't tell you. I can help you with that. I should look it up. But next, we're going to the house of Edith. This is Shiso Reverie. You guys familiar with Shiso Reverie? Or actually, are you familiar with Edith? It's a Japanese brand. Well, if you like the idea of Shiso, this is a Shiso lover's dream come true. Really, really delicious. So I think I've experienced Shiso in fragrances here and there. This to me is one of the better takes on it. It's very citrusy forward. It's very fresh, very invigorating. There's a lot of green floral notes in this as well. And of course, aromatic notes. And Shiso is an aromatic note in the end, but it's got this very unique smell about it. I was explaining it in a video recently. I think it's kind of like cross between maybe basil and mint or something, but not quite. It's a unique smell, and they've captured it here perfectly. This to me is also very, very fresh. So I would leave this for the warmest days. But it's got kind of a very soothing quality and giving you this very relaxed feel, but also very exciting, not exciting, but sense waking. Like it wakes up your senses with all its freshness and greenness kind of a thing. So Shiso Reverie from the House of Edith. Let me know if you're familiar with that one. What are your thoughts on that brand? It's a Japanese brand. Then we're going to talk about Jo Malone's Ambre Labdanum. This is also a recent pickup. I did get 15% off on this one and really fell in love with it. It's an awesome, awesome scent. I used to buy a lot more Jo Malone. I don't buy it as much, but this one I had to have because the way the fragrance is created, it's naturalistic smelling labdanum. To me, I have, like, in the autumn, there are the plants that produce the labdanum. There's this distinct smell in the autumn when it's baking under the, like, late summer, early autumn sun. And they've captured it perfectly here because it's got this slight smokiness. It's kind of sticky resinous, and of course labdanum is, and it's very, very original smelling, as in like authentic smelling, I should say, not original. But a great amber, slightly smoky, very sticky resinous, maybe a little bit of spice in there, a little bit of vanillic touch to kind of sweeten it up, and slight orangey effect in there as well. It's a great scent. It's a great Jo Malone. More intense than other Jo Malone fragrances, but really quality offering. Created by Jan Vaznier. That is for the house of Jo Malone. It's called Ambre Labdanum. And the last fragrance I'm going to talk to you about is from the house of Orza et Legrand à la Impériale. It's a brand new fragrance. The brand launched 5 extrait de parfum fragrances, and this is one of them right here, à la Impériale. What do you guys think of that? So this fragrance to me reminds me a little bit of Carmen from Trudon. I don't know why. I think what's missing from the à la Impériale is the cloves. But outside of that, they feel similar. It reminds me of one another, not smelling identical. Wow. Even though the Orza et Legrand à la Impériale is very smoky, I feel like I get more smoke from the Carmen. But then also, as I was saying earlier, Carmen is also quite soapy to me. Does this come off soapy? The à la Impériale comes off more ambery resinous, but there is something similar about the two going back and forth. But the à la Impériale is awesome. It's a great, great scent, if you didn't know that already. Super, super awesome. So that's it, guys. Those are the fragrances. So out of all these, we've got 6 of the brands that I spoke about today will be present at the show, ScentFest SF. If you guys want to meet brand founders and owners, you guys got to come, check it out, check out the fragrances, talk to the brand owners and the founders and the distributors and the agents and the retailers, learn about fragrances. There's probably going to be around 500 fragrances at the show from all the different brands. So we'll have around 110 brands. So you'll be able to experience a lot of fragrances, plus do a lot of awesome things around fragrances like the Osmotech. You could also create fragrances with algorithmic perfumery and learn about ingredients and things like that. So it's going to be a great show. Please come and get your tickets before we run out. As I said, we will probably be sold out of Saturday, but I would highly recommend getting a 3-day pass so you don't miss out anything. Very first show of its kind on the West Coast of the United States. This is ScentFest SF, and I hope to see you guys there. But thanks so much for watching today's video, guys. If you have any questions or comments about these fragrances, let me know. Add a comment below. Which of these have you smelled? Which of these have you been wanting to smell? Let me know. Add a comment below. And again, thanks again for watching today. Stay tuned for another video. In the meantime, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please subscribe, click the bell icon, like the video, share it. Please interact with the video so it helps with the algorithm and it gets the video out further. Stay tuned for another video soon. I'll be back. Bye.